all of those patterns have the potential to be replicated. It's just unless you are a biotech company or a scientist or a dermatologist, it's hard to replicate Medik8, but those in that world can. And then I would say if you're a founder and you're not of the profile of Hailey Bieber, then I think you really need to be thinking about your influencer partnership strategy very carefully and finding a way to stand out uniquely on TikTok and Instagram. And then in terms of Aesop and the own store, I am very curious if if there's going to be brands popping up out of Roblox or from live streaming, the new world of shopping, if we're going to get some wins there and it's going to be a different world sort of 5 to 10 years from now. But that's what we're seeing. I think what's near and dear to my heart, and it could be because the founder profile is similar to mine, so I feel a lot of affinity for her, but Vicky from Tatcha, she was Wellesley and then HBS just a year above me. We crossed paths lightly. But watching her go the classic brand management path and then bootstrapped, build it out of her parents' garage, I believe. And I think she bootstrapped for a couple of years until her first round.
I think more than a couple of years, actually. I think it was, because I remember doing a profile on her a little bit ago. I think it was a few years for sure.
But then I think what's really interesting is that a lot of people talk about the partnership she had with a luxury department store out of the gate, like her first year, which kudos to her. But when I saw her business in the early years, I think my guess would be the crux of her sales and her brand awareness came from going on QVC. She personally went, her story was a big portion of her business the early days. So when you think about 10 years ago, where the average woman in her 40s or 50s was buying skincare or watching such a huge audience, such a huge, easy capacity to get brand awareness, to be able to tell your story authentically over a period of time. And I do really see, again, like live streaming TikTok video as kind of a next gen QVC HSN for the new generation, really waiting for one of those platforms to deliver a brand that can get to 30 to 50 million without retail.
Very cool. Love that. And then for those who may not want to go the traditional route, what are some of the other financing options? Obviously, you mentioned family funds. Anything else that you can share in terms of options?
Yeah, I've seen a couple interesting alternatives. I would highlight one especially. If you are either looking to maintain your business, keep it private, just looking for that 5 or 10 or 20 million business that you can own, there are new companies popping up that if you've proven some success on e-commerce, have some steady sales, good margin, and have literally a contract with a retailer. Again, they love these signed contracts. They will finance the PO. It's PO financing. They will finance basically the huge capital outlay, which is traditionally inventory. So you're not getting everything financed, but they will finance the PO and take that bulk of it and provide you capital for that, which is a really interesting way if you're able still to manage a lot of the marketing costs that come.
Yeah, I've seen those too.
Yeah, and then there's, again, this would be more if you're looking to keep it private and are comfortable with this steady reduction to your top line or to your profitability. But there are some new companies that help finance D2C and e-commerce, whereby they basically, once they see you've hit 1 million or 5 million really well, they will help fuel product development, team expansion, wherever you want to allocate the money. But they basically then take a steady percentage of sales off the top line. But there's, I will say the landscape is hit or miss. There's definitely due diligence required if you're going to partner with someone, but there's some really good outlets that have helped e-com companies get up to 50 million without the VC route.
Cool. Very interesting. All right. So last question, Dominique, and of course, I'm if you have any other additional thoughts you want to share, please do. But is there sort of one piece of advice you wish every founder knew before thinking about and taking and talking to investors?
I will just repeat what I said earlier. Finding the right investors, if that's your goal, is like dating. And if you're looking to marry a set of investors, start early. It's about timing, and it takes time to find that. So don't wait until you need money or you want to start your round to begin that process. You should be starting to date investors from day one.
Okay, great advice. And anything else that I didn't ask you that I should have asked you?
It's more concerns me that we get swept up by the cover of Inc. magazine or being profiled in Beauty Independent. And we all want, which would be amazing, TrueView Ventures to back us and us to have a beautiful exit. But that is a high risk, high reward path. So few make it. Doesn't mean you shouldn't do it if that's your goal. But I really would encourage all entrepreneurs to be really thoughtful in the early days, really think carefully about the kind of business they want to build, what will make them happy 5 to 10 years from now. We've seen amazing brands follow that path and succeed, like Becca Cosmetics, and then get closed a few years later because within the Estee Lauder machine, they just weren't allocating, in my opinion, the right investment and talent to what is a small fish within their larger portfolio. Maintaining a brand is important, or maybe it's just cash. I think I wouldn't discount building what some call a lifestyle business, which in some worlds has a derogatory aura to it. But I think that's a beautiful thing if it meets your goals. And you should really consider the different avenues to build a business and then design and architect your business, your investment strategy, your allocation of capital against what kind of business you want to build. I think too many just assume we do this or that's the only way, and it isn't. And it won't necessarily make you happy. So
I love that you shared that because I actually love the lifestyle business model, especially for a lot of the women founders that I work with. I see it as a better fit for many of them. Sometimes I ask them, depending on where the conversation's going, like, are you looking to build a lifestyle business or are you looking to build an enterprise business? And a lot of times people haven't even thought about it, right? They're just kind of starting their building, but they're not thinking about, like you said, like, what type of business are you? What's the end goal? What type of business are you building? They look very different.
They do. And I understand it. When you're starting out a business, and if you haven't done it before, it's so much. Your hands are in so many pies. I'm sure thinking about where do you want it to be 5 to 10 years from now is overwhelming, but I love that you encourage them to do so. I think facilitating that conversation, which is something I always, no matter what founder comes to me, I always end up including that because I think it's so important to carve out time and really think about why you're doing this and what is it. And we do that in life. We do that for our relationships. Why don't we do that if a business can be such a large percentage of the time for that part of your life? Yeah, and we've seen, I'm sure you saw Ame Cole, such a sad story. Got retail, got us around, right? I think it was 3.1. She raised, and then 3 years later, money ran out, couldn't find the next round close, and she really banked on that very accelerated. Like I said, they typically expect you to raise again within 18 months, maybe 2 years. So I asked myself, if she had kept that business private and or managed it a different way, would it be a different story now? But obviously, I'm sure that was her goal, and she went into it with heart and soul, and it just wasn't the outcome she expected. And through no fault, it's a bad environment to be raising right now. But that is an outcome. And so...
Yes, that's true. It is an option. It is an outcome. I think one thing to think about too is, you mentioned like high stakes, high reward, but also high pressure, and knowing yourself and understanding if you're somebody that thrives under high pressure or if you want to take that slow and steady approach.